Welcome back. Lisa Hampton joins us. Lisa, you've been out showing a lot of houses recently. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to not be showing houses for a few minutes.
And come up here and the relaxation of the old radio studio up here.
Beautiful view. Just get to see all of that.
It is. You can see the city and everything there, which is nice. Well, welcome back. And you've been showing houses. You've been in the real estate industry a long time, working with Wes at Homehelper Consultants, and you're really seeing a big market change from the buying side, aren't you?
Oh, it's happened drastically. In the past 45 days, probably, things have just been moving so quickly.
And I mean, they're good houses are flying off the market. They're not sitting very long.
All houses are flying off the market.
They all are. There's not going to be any left to sell.
A lot of investors are coming out now and really buying. Houses are staying on the market just for a few days right now. And it honestly is. I have buyers who are looking, and they've lost on 4 deals because of multiple offer situations. We find a house that comes on the market at noon, and I call them, and I'm like, you have to meet me at 1. Like, if we don't get out there at 1 o'clock, chances are somebody else is going to get an offer in before we do.
Is there... so the ones that are on the market or not, they're kind of all getting swooped up right now.
All of them. The ones that have been on the market for 1 day, and I'm also seeing we've been in a couple multiple offer situations on ones that have been on for 200 days.
Wow.
So there's no rhyme or reason to it right now. You can't pinpoint exactly which properties are going to go and which ones aren't. But
well, I think there's an element of excitement. You get interest rates low. There's been a lot of pent up demand for a while. And so people are finally like, hey, you know what? Let's finally make this happen.
Oh, and it is exciting. I probably make it sound pretty dire because you got to move really fast, but it is exciting because when you find that house...
It's better than houses not ever selling, right?
It is way better than houses not selling. It's just buyers, I think, are so used to being able to wait. Let's look at the house. Can we come back in another week? We want to look at it again. Okay, wait, can we go back on Wednesday? You can't. You get to look at it once, take in what you need, and then you have to make that decision.
Is there just an element of people kind of preparing the right way so they really know what they're looking for and they can walk in and just kind of start checking off their list? Yes, it has 4 bedrooms. Okay, we're good there.
There definitely is, and that's one of the things I always do. I sit down for a buyer consultation, and we go through wants and needs and pinpointing every single thing they want so that when we start looking, it's not like, oh, yeah, I guess I don't really want 2 bedrooms. People know before we ever walk into a house exactly what they're looking for.
And then that puts them in a position where, okay, granted, they don't have to make an offer that hour. That isn't fair. Right. But if people have been looking, it becomes a point in time where they need to have their ducks in a row.
Exactly. And they need to know they have to have their finances in a row. Their mortgage has to be all ready to go. You have to have that pre-approval letter because most listing agents aren't taking an offer without it. And so having that ready to go, knowing what you want, and just being ready to take that next step.
Do you see all of this contributing towards prices starting to go up, flattening out?
Some of them are going up. And that's also another thing. You mentioned something in the beginning that you said, the presidential election, there's just too much information out there. You can it depends on where you look. You can find something to support all of it. But buyers still have the mindset, and they can find it anywhere online, that you can go into a property and you always offer low. And that's what that mindset is. And you're not anymore. Sometimes you have to offer above listing price. So prices are going up because of that.
Yeah. And, there's that interesting concept of, listing price versus what the house is actually worth. And
yes.
What someone's going to pay for it, right? Yes, that's what right?
Well, right, exactly. And, if a house is listed for $200,000, but someone's willing to pay $225,000, it's worth $225,000.
And that means that's what someone's going to pay for it, right?
Point blank, there's nothing else to say about it.
So what do you do? People are still a little bit weary of jumping in, especially if they're new, looking at looking at a house for the first time, or even if they've been looking for a couple months. But then, people who maybe are 6 months or 12 months in, they're not only weary, they're probably disenfranchised with the whole situation because there hasn't been certain houses they've been looking for. How do you help people kind of go from this, okay, take a look around, gather your information, but you are kind of going to buy a house at this point in time, and the current market is you don't get to offer 80%. You don't get to run all the terms for a house that you may want. How do you help people kind of take them through that?
It's all education. There's stats out there based on what has closed in the last 30 days and percentages of listing price. comps in the area. There's numbers out there to show what is going to sell and what it's going to sell for and prepping them for that. And it's just education, and they have to educate themselves. But that's also why you hire a professional, is to help you with that. Because again, you can find information everywhere. You need someone who's going to help you pinpoint what you're looking for.
And you guys use a website, purchasewa.com.
Yes.
Which, I mean, this is a lot of information, what it does. You know, a house gets listed in your price range, it tells you. A house gets sold in your price range, it tells you. I mean, but it kind of gives you the targeted information you're looking for.
It does, and it helps so that the buyers have control still. Because while you want a professional to help you through it, it's important that you know what's going on as well. And so by having control of what's coming on the market, prices that are changing, current days on the market, and you're going to be able to find that on purchasewa.com, you're educated as well, so there's clarity.
And do you think it helps to be educated on, you know, it's kind of burying your head in the sand, at least into the neighborhood you want. You don't need to know what's happening on national levels at some point in time. If you're looking in, I don't know, what's out there? You're looking in West Seattle, or you're looking in a certain area, then that's kind of the area that matters.
It is, and I always compare that to the weather report, because I love the national media. I mean, they say it's going to rain today. Well, great, where? So you can say there's stats and everything out there national, but it makes no difference.
And they always say it's going to rain here.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, no matter what, it's going to rain in Seattle.
It's kind of safe if they do, right?
Yeah, well, 75% of the time they'll be right. So when you start helping people understand this, I mean, I guess that is the educational process. I mean, it's not a national market, although it is a national mortgage market. Rates don't change city to city.
And that's your job.
I know. But it isn't, you know, but when you start getting people into this neighborhood by neighborhood, what do they typically find, or what do they explore in these neighborhoods to realize, okay, this is all I need to learn?
They start exploring what's been on the market, what's around there. When people really have it pinpointed, a lot of times school districts are what's going to navigate where they're going to move to. It's really just knowing what's been on the market, what's sold, what's pending, and knowing maybe, you know, some ideas of what's going to be coming on the market.
Because I guess it would seem that if you get a lot of information on a small segment of the market, it's palatable.
Exactly. Because when you start getting it for all of King County, and it's great, and I have stats I brought for all of King County, but it varies. You know, total listings are down 32% this February from last February. Depends on where you're looking. In West Seattle, they're down 45%. So that's a huge difference.
What are some of those other big numbers? I see you highlighted some, so I want you to at least get to them here.
Some of the big ones that have listings that are on the market down more. You've got Kirkland Bridle Trails, Ballard Green Lake shoreline area. Those ones, when you don't have as many listings on the market, buyers can't be as picky. You start looking for the 85% house as opposed to the 100% house, and it's knowing that where are the number of listings at in the area you're looking.
Where do you help people? We're here with Lisa Hampton. Lisa, we just have about a minute now before we have to go to break. But where does patience? I mean, you know, I would think, well, it's a big purchase, right? You can't. I mean, you can't just go in and go, I want that one today because it's the one I found.
Right.
How do you help people balance the need to be prepared and find what you want versus, hey, it's a house. We're planning on living there for 10 years. I mean, how do they deal with that?
Well, it's an emotional purchase. You know, I mean, the financial side is huge, but really when people walk into a house, and especially nowadays, they're buying a home. They're not buying an investment. They're buying somewhere to live. So it's emotional for them. And that comes back into the consultation and really helping them pinpoint what they're looking for. And it becomes emotional. Do you want 3 bedrooms because you're planning on having 2 more kids? You know, why do you want all of these things? And that's what's important, is them knowing why, so that when they start looking at houses, they're confident that it's going to fit their lifestyle. Well,
and at least confident enough to make an offer, because as you know,
right,
you do also have this point in time in your contract that you can go, you know what, this actually isn't the perfect house. It isn't what we thought. And that is something I think that people can understand too.
Right, and that's setting people up from the beginning. And I do let people know, you know, you're not going to find the 100% house. You're going to find the 90%. So let's look for the 90% house, and as you look,
90% of what you want.
90% of your ideal,
Of your perfect house.
of your perfect dream house. You can find pretty much
better than any grade I ever got. So 90% A- done and done. I'll take it.
Excellent. But that's really what you're looking for, and things can always change. You can break down walls and paint walls, and you can change those to make it the 100%.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, thanks so much for joining us. And that's Lisa Hampton of Home Helper Consultants. When we come back, finding the perfect house is hard. As we talked about, 90% might be the best you can do. But how do you make sure you have the right financing? How do you make sure you're going to buy a home or refinance with the right lender? Ryan Leopold's going to join us. We're going to talk about the different types of mortgage lenders out there. My name is Ben Brash, and it's about 3:40. We'll be right back.